The crystal halls of Nexus Prime sparkled under 3 different suns. Emperor Vox Talith stretched his 6 arms wide as he entered the massive chamber. His purple skin gleamed in the light, and his 4 eyes scanned the gathering before him. Today would be a good day. Today the galaxy would finally have peace. 47 different alien species filled the council chamber. Some floated in water tanks. Others hung from the ceiling on silk threads. The Krillian ambassador clicked his mandibles nervously. The ethereal representative glowed softly blue in her containment field. All of them had come for one reason: to deal with the human problem. Emperor Vox Talith climbed onto his golden platform. His voice boomed across the chamber through the translation devices. My fellow beings, we gather today to vote on a matter of galactic security. The humans of Earth have become too dangerous to ignore. A low murmur spread through the crowd. The Tenthari delegate waved her tentacles in agreement. The rock-like Storians made grinding sounds that meant approval. Everyone knew why they were here. For 50 years we have watched the humans spread across space like a disease. The Emperor continued. They build weapons instead of art. They fight instead of negotiate. They take resources that belong to peaceful species. They are aggressive, violent, and unpredictable. The Vegan representative stood up on his 4 legs. Your Majesty speaks truth. Humans destroyed 3 of our mining stations last year. They claimed we were stealing from their territory. Territory they had no right to claim, added the Zephyrian trade minister. They arrived in that system only 5 years ago. We had been mining there for centuries. The Emperor's 4 eyes glowed with satisfaction. This was going exactly as planned. The humans refuse to follow galactic law. They ignore our trade agreements. They build military ships when they should build exploration vessels. They are a threat to the peace we have worked so hard to create. More voices joined in agreement. The crystalline beings chimed like broken glass. The gas cloud entities pulsed with angry colors. Even the normally quiet deep dwellers made rumbling sounds of approval. I propose we solve this problem once and for all, the Emperor announced. We vote to banish humanity from Earth. They will be relocated to Kepler 442c in the Outer Rim. There they can fight among themselves without threatening civilized species. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some delegates cheered. Others whispered concerns. The Aquarian ambassador raised a flipper. Your Majesty, is banishment not too harsh? Perhaps we could negotiate with them again. The Emperor's laugh was cold and bitter. Negotiate? We have tried for decades. Humans understand only force. They respect only strength. Today we show them both. The voting began immediately. One by one, each species cast their decision. The Krillians voted yes. The Ethereals voted yes. The Tenthari voted yes. Only 3 species voted against the banishment. The Aquarians, the peaceful ones, and surprisingly, the warrior race of Gorvax. The Gorvac general stood tall on his massive legs. His scarred face showed old battle wounds. Humans are fierce fighters, yes. But they are honorable enemies. I have fought beside them and against them. They keep their word in battle. This vote is born of fear, not wisdom. The Emperor dismissed his words with a wave of his clawed hand. The vote is decided. 44 species for banishment, 3 against. The motion passes by overwhelming majority. He signed the decree with ceremonial ink made from crushed gemstones. His signature was beautiful and flowing, written in the ancient script of his people. The document was sealed with his royal mark and broadcast to every corner of the galaxy. Let it be known, the Emperor declared, that humanity has 1 solar cycle to leave Earth. They will relocate to Kepler 442c. Any human found in galactic space after that time will be considered a criminal. This meeting is concluded. The delegates began to file out of the chamber. Many seemed pleased with the decision. They chatted excitedly about the new era of peace that would begin. Trade would improve. Resources would be shared fairly. The aggressive humans would no longer threaten their careful balance. But the Emperor did not know about the small device hidden in the chamber's crystal walls. He did not know that human intelligence had been listening to galactic communications for months. He did not know that Admiral Sarah Chen was sitting in her command chair aboard the UES Defiance, watching the vote happen in real time. Admiral Chen was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had fought in 3 different wars and survived attacks by space pirates, alien raiders, and natural disasters. She was not easily surprised. But today her hands shook slightly as she watched the alien delegates vote to throw her entire species out of their home. "Ma'am," said Lieutenant Rodriguez, her communications officer, "should we inform Earth Command?" Admiral Chen stared at the screen for a long moment. The Emperor was still speaking, explaining how peaceful the galaxy would be without humans. She made her decision quickly. "No," she said quietly. "Not yet. How long until they send their official message to Earth?" Lieutenant Rodriguez checked his instruments. "Based on their usual diplomatic procedures, probably 6 to 8 hours, ma'am." "Good. That gives us time." Admiral Chen stood up and walked to the center of her bridge. Around her, 30 officers waited for orders. They were the best humanity had to offer, smart, brave, and loyal. They would need all of those qualities in the coming days. "Rodriguez, send a coded message to Admiral Park at Luna Base. Tell him to activate Contingency 7 immediately. And send word to Admiral Thompson at Mars Command. Full evacuation protocols starting now." "Ma'am?" Rodriguez looked confused. "What's Contingency 7? Admiral Chen smiled, but there was no humor in it. "Something we hoped we'd never need, Lieutenant. Something we've been preparing for since the first day we met these alien species." She turned to face her entire bridge crew. "Ladies and gentlemen, the aliens have just voted to kick us out of our own home. They think we're too dangerous to live near them. They think we're violent and unpredictable." The bridge was completely silent. Everyone understood what this meant. "Well," Admiral Chen continued, "they're about to find out just how right they are. If they want us gone, we'll leave. But we're not going to that prison world they picked out for us. We're going to show them what humans can really do when we're properly motivated." She walked back to her command chair and sat down. "Rodriguez, as soon as you've sent those messages, prepare a transmission to Earth. All channels, maximum priority. Tell them the Emperor has made his choice and now it's time for us to make ours." Far below on Earth, 12 billion humans were going about their daily lives. They had no idea that their fate had just been decided by aliens in a crystal palace. They did not know that they had been judged and found wanting. They did not know that they were about to lose their home. But Admiral Chen knew. And Admiral Chen was ready. The Emperor finished his speech and left the chamber, confident that he had solved the human problem forever. He did not know that he had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. He did not know that humanity had been preparing for this day since they first encountered alien civilization. He did not know that humans never forgot a slight. And they never forgave an enemy. The countdown had begun. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Around her, hundreds of screens showed real-time data from across the solar system. Ships were moving. People were packing. The greatest evacuation in human history had begun, and it was happening faster than anyone thought possible. "Ma'am, we have confirmation from Sector 7, reported Captain Martinez. "The Henderson colony ship is loaded and ready for departure. 200,000 civilians aboard." "And the Singapore?" Chen asked. "Departing Luna Base in 3 hours. Another 150,000 evacuees." Chen nodded and turned to the massive display screen that dominated the room. It showed a 3-dimensional map of human space. Green dots represented evacuation ships. Blue dots showed military vessels. Red dots marked supply depots and resource collection points. There were thousands of dots, and more appeared every minute. Dr. Elizabeth Warren, the head of the evacuation committee, approached Chen with a tablet in her hands. She looked tired but determined. "Admiral, I have the latest numbers. We're moving faster than our most optimistic projections." "How fast?" Chen asked. 8 million people evacuated in the first week. We should have everyone off Earth in 7 months at this rate." Chen shook her head. "Not fast enough. The aliens gave us 1 solar cycle, 12 months. But I don't trust them to wait that long. We need everyone gone in 8 months maximum." Dr. Warren frowned. "That's impossible, Admiral. The logistics alone are being handled," Chen interrupted. She pointed to the display screen. "Look at Section 12. What do you see?" Dr. Warren squinted at the screen. "Those are mining ships from the asteroid belt." "Converted mining ships," Chen corrected. "Each one can carry 50,000 people in emergency conditions. They're not comfortable, but they're space-worthy. We've been modifying them for months." "Months?" Dr. Warren looked shocked. "You knew this was coming?" Chen's expression was grim. "We hoped it wouldn't happen. But we planned for it anyway. That's what humans do. We prepare for the worst and hope for the best." Across the solar system, the evacuation was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Massive passenger ships that the aliens thought were under construction revealed themselves to be fully operational. They had been built in secret, hidden in asteroid mines and behind the far side of the moon. The cargo haulers that normally carried supplies to Mars were quickly converted to carry people instead. Each ship was packed beyond its normal capacity, but human engineers had calculated exactly how much they could push the life support systems. On Earth's surface, entire cities were being dismantled. Not destroyed, carefully taken apart piece by piece. Factories were broken down and loaded onto cargo ships. Libraries were digitized and their physical books packed away. Museums were emptied of their treasures. Even trees and animals were loaded into biopreservation units. The aliens watching from their monitoring stations could not believe what they were seeing. They had expected panic, chaos, desperate pleas for mercy. Instead, they witnessed the most organized operation in galactic history. Commander Zixtal of the Zephyrian Monitoring Fleet sent daily reports to Emperor Vox Talith. Each report was more disturbing than the last. "Your Majesty," he transmitted, "the humans are not acting as we predicted. They are not begging for forgiveness. They are not fighting among themselves. They are efficient." The Emperor read the reports with growing unease. "What do you mean, efficient?" "They have emptied 17 major cities without a single riot. They have moved 8 billion tons of equipment off-world in 2 months. Their ships are launching every 6 minutes around the clock. It's like they were ready for this." The Emperor's 4 eyes narrowed. "That's impossible. We only voted on this decision 2 months ago." But Commander Zixtal's next report was even more troubling. "Your Majesty, we have tracked human ships leaving the solar system, but they are not heading toward Kepler 442c as ordered." "Where are they going?" the Emperor demanded. "Everywhere, Your Majesty. Our scouts report human vessels in 17 different directions. Some are heading toward the galactic core. Others are moving out toward the rim territories. A few have left our galaxy entirely." Emperor Vox Talith felt a cold chill run through his purple skin. This was not supposed to happen. The humans were supposed to go to their assigned world and stay there. They were supposed to be contained. On Earth, Admiral Chen received similar reports from her own scouts. Human ships were scattering across the galaxy like seeds in the wind. Each ship carried not just people, but knowledge. Libraries full of human history and science. Genetic samples from every species on Earth. Industrial equipment to build new colonies. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Rodriguez approached her desk. "We have a message from the Bangkok evacuation fleet. They found something interesting." Chen looked up from her reports. "What kind of interesting?" "A star system with 3 habitable worlds completely uninhabited. Perfect for colonization. The Bangkok fleet is requesting permission to establish a permanent settlement." Chen smiled for the first time in weeks. "Granted. Tell them to start building, and tell them to look for mineral deposits while they're at it." This was happening across human space. Evacuation fleets were not just running away. They were exploring, claiming territory, establishing new homes. They were taking advantage of their forced exile to spread further than they had ever spread before. The aliens had given humanity a gift, though they did not realize it yet. By forcing humans to leave Earth, they had removed all the restrictions that had kept humanity contained to one small corner of the galaxy. Dr. Sarah Kim, leading the Australia evacuation fleet, sent a message back to Earth Command. "Admiral Chen, we've made contact with 3 different alien species that aren't part of the Galactic Council. They're actually friendly. One of them wants to trade technology for human medical knowledge." Captain James O'Brien, commanding the Ireland fleet, reported finding vast asteroid fields rich in rare metals. "Admiral, there's enough platinum here to build 1,000 cities, and nobody's claimed it." Commander Liu Wei, heading the China evacuation convoy, discovered something even better. "Admiral Chen, we found evidence of an ancient alien civilization. Their technology is centuries ahead of anything the Galactic Council has, and their cities are empty. They left behind everything." Each report brought more good news. Humanity was not just surviving their exile, they were thriving. Free from the restrictive laws of the Galactic Council, human ships could explore any system they wanted. They could claim any world they found. They could trade with any species that was willing. Back on Earth, the evacuation continued at breakneck speed. The planet that had been humanity's home for millions of years was being systematically emptied. But the humans were not leaving it bare. They took everything that mattered, every work of art, every scientific discovery, every cultural treasure. They took samples of every plant and animal. They even took soil from famous locations, water from important rivers, and rocks from sacred mountains. By the time the last human ship left Earth, the planet looked like an empty shell. The cities were gone. The factories were gone. Even most of the wildlife had been relocated to preserve Earth's ecosystems on other worlds. Emperor Vox Talith received the final report with satisfaction. Commander Zixtel confirmed that all humans have left Earth. Confirmed, Your Majesty. The last ships departed 3 days ago. Earth is empty. Excellent. And they went to Kepler 442c as ordered? There was a long pause before Commander Zixtel responded. No, Your Majesty. Our scouts report that no human ships have arrived at Kepler 442c. We've lost track of most of their fleets. They seem to have scattered. The Emperor felt that cold chill again. What do you mean, scattered? Your Majesty, the humans have vanished into deep space. We don't know where they went. For the first time since issuing the banishment order, Emperor Vox Talith wondered if he had made a mistake. But it was too late now. The humans were gone and the galaxy would finally have peace. He had no way of knowing that humanity's real adventure was just beginning. 5 years had passed since the last human ship left Earth. Emperor Vox Talith stood on his palace balcony, looking out at the 3 suns that lit Nexus Prime. The galaxy was peaceful. Trade routes ran smoothly. There were no more reports of human aggression or expansion. His approval ratings had never been higher. The core worlds praised his wisdom in dealing with the human threat. The mid-rim territories reported increased prosperity without human interference. Even the outer rim seemed quieter without human exploration fleets disrupting established trade patterns. Your Majesty, his aide announced, Trade Minister Felmoth is here for your morning briefing. The Emperor turned from his balcony and walked into his office. Minister Felmoth was a thin, blue-skinned Altarian with large black eyes. He carried a stack of data tablets and looked pleased. Good news, Your Majesty, Felmoth began. Galactic trade has increased by 15% since the human banishment. The Vegan Mining Consortium reports record profits. The Zephyrian shipping lanes are operating at maximum efficiency. Excellent, the Emperor replied. And what of the territories the humans used to control? Redistributed among loyal species as planned. The Krillians have taken over the former human colonies in Sector 12. The Ethereals have claimed the asteroid mining operations. Everything is proceeding smoothly. The Emperor nodded with satisfaction. He had been right to banish the humans. The galaxy was better without them. But Minister Felmoth's expression became slightly troubled. Your Majesty, there is one small matter. We've received some unusual reports from the Outer Rim territories. What kind of reports? Mining operations going offline. Survey teams reporting empty star systems where there should be rich asteroid fields. Some of our frontier scouts have simply disappeared. The Emperor waved a dismissive hand. The Outer Rim has always been dangerous. Pirates, spatial anomalies, unstable stars, nothing we haven't dealt with before. Yes, Your Majesty. I'm sure you're right. After Minister Felmoth left, the Emperor returned to his balcony. The peaceful view calmed him. 3 suns, 7 moons, crystal spires reaching toward the sky. This was what civilization looked like when aggressive species were properly contained. He did not know that at that very moment, Admiral Sarah Chen was standing on the observation deck of the TCS Prometheus, looking out at a very different view. Instead of 3 suns, she saw 4. Instead of crystal spires, she saw massive orbital shipyards building vessels that dwarfed anything the Galactic Council had ever imagined. Admiral, Captain Rodriguez approached her. He had been promoted twice in the past 5 years and now commanded his own fleet. We have the latest production reports from the new Terra shipyards. Chen took the tablet and read the numbers. Her eyes widened slightly. 600 ships completed this month? That's double our projections. Yes, ma'am. The automated factories are exceeding all expectations. And the new materials we've discovered. Rodriguez paused. Ma'am, our hull plating is now stronger than anything the Galactic Council uses. Our engines are 30% faster than their military vessels. Our weapons are purely defensive, Captain, Chen interrupted with a slight smile. Remember, we're peaceful explorers now. Rodriguez grinned. Of course, ma'am. Peaceful explorers who happen to have very good defensive capabilities. The truth was that humanity had not been idle during their 5 years of exile. Free from the regulations and restrictions of the Galactic Council, human ingenuity had exploded across the galaxy. Without aliens telling them what they could and couldn't research, human scientists had made breakthrough after breakthrough. Dr. Elizabeth Warren, now the head of the Terran Science Consortium, had established research stations in 17 different star systems. Each station specialized in different fields: exotic matter physics, quantum engineering, biological adaptation, artificial intelligence. Admiral Chen, Dr. Warren's voice came through the communication system. I have the latest reports from our research divisions. Go ahead, Doctor. The quantum engineering team has achieved stable, faster-than-light communication. We can now talk to any human settlement instantly, regardless of distance. The biological adaptation group has developed genetic modifications that allow humans to live comfortably on any type of world. And the artificial intelligence division has created manufacturing systems that can build anything we need. Chen nodded. This was exactly what she had hoped for. What about the exploration teams? Even better news. Captain O'Brien's fleet has discovered what appears to be an ancient alien library ship. The technology inside is thousands of years old but still functional. We're learning about civilizations that existed before the current galactic powers even evolved. This was happening across human space. Without the Galactic Council's restrictions on archaeological research, human explorers were uncovering the remains of dozens of ancient civilizations. Each discovery brought new knowledge, new technology, new possibilities. Commander Liu Wei had found the ruins of a vast stellar engineering project, artificial structures that could move entire star systems. Captain Sarah Kim had discovered a derelict space station that contained complete genetic databases of extinct alien species. Captain James O'Brien had located what appeared to be an abandoned manufacturing world, where machines still functioned after 10,000 years. But the most important discovery came from an unexpected source. The fringe species, alien races that lived on the edges of galactic civilization, began making contact with human settlements. The Andromedal Trade Federation was the first. They were a collection of small alien species that had been ignored by the Galactic Council for centuries. They lived in the space between galaxies, trading with anyone who would deal with them fairly. Ambassador Elena Vasquez, humanity's first official diplomat to non-council species, established contact with the Andromedals at a remote human outpost called Haven Station. Admiral Chen, Ambassador Vasquez reported via quantum communication, "You're not going to believe what I've learned. The Galactic Council isn't the only major power in this region of space. There are dozens of other alien civilizations, many of them more advanced than the Council species." Go on, Chen replied. The Andromedals have been around for over 50,000 years. They've seen empires rise and fall. According to them, the current Galactic Council is actually relatively young and weak, compared to some of the powers that exist in deep space. This was shocking news. The Galactic Council had always presented itself as the supreme authority in the galaxy. But according to the Andromedals, they controlled less than 30% of inhabited space. There's more, Admiral. The Andromedals want to establish formal trade relations with humanity. They're offering to share technology and star charts in exchange for human-manufactured goods. What kind of technology? Chen asked. Gravitational manipulation, dimensional folding, temporal mechanics, things that would make our current ships look like wooden sailing boats. Chen felt a thrill of excitement. This was beyond their wildest dreams. Not only had humanity survived their exile, they were about to become more powerful than they had ever imagined. But there was still the question of what to do about the Galactic Council. For now, humanity was staying hidden, building their strength in secret. But eventually, they would have to decide how to deal with the aliens who had banished them. Back on Nexus Prime, Emperor Vox Talith was beginning to receive more disturbing reports. The disappearances in the Outer Rim were increasing. Entire mining operations were vanishing overnight. Survey ships were reporting strange sightings, massive vessels that didn't match any known designs. Your Majesty, Commander Zixtal's latest report was filled with concern. We've lost contact with 3 more frontier outposts. When our rescue ships arrived, they found the installations completely empty. Not destroyed, empty, as if everyone had simply left. Pirates? The Emperor suggested. No signs of battle, Your Majesty. No damage to the facilities. The equipment was gone, but it had been removed carefully, professionally. This doesn't match any known pirate tactics. The Emperor felt that familiar cold chill. What are you suggesting, Commander? I'm not sure, Your Majesty, but some of my officers think we might be dealing with an unknown alien species, something new and powerful. The Emperor considered this possibility. It was troubling, but not impossible. The galaxy was vast and new species were discovered regularly, but usually new species made contact peacefully, seeking to join the galactic community. Increase patrols in the affected areas, he ordered. If there's a new species out there, we need to make contact and establish diplomatic relations. Yes, Your Majesty. What the Emperor didn't know was that the unknown alien species was humanity, operating under false identification codes and using ship designs that looked nothing like their old vessels. Human engineers had learned from studying alien technology and had created completely new ship configurations that would not be recognized as human in origin. These ships were conducting what Admiral Chen called resource acquisition operations. They were systematically identifying and claiming valuable resources throughout the galaxy, especially in areas where the Galactic Council had little presence. Admiral, Captain Martinez reported during one of their weekly staff meetings. Our acquisition teams have secured mining rights to 47 different asteroid fields in the Pemperer. Vox Talith stared at the economic reports spread across his desk. His four eyes moved from one data tablet to another, trying to make sense of the numbers. Trade revenues were down 18%. Manufacturing profits had collapsed in 6 major sectors. Even the most successful alien corporations were struggling to compete with new products flooding the market. Minister Felmoth, he called to his trade advisor, explain these numbers to me. Where are these new products coming from? The thin blue alien shifted nervously. Your Majesty, we're dealing with what appears to be a new manufacturing consortium. They call themselves Terran Collective. They've been selling goods throughout the mid and outer rim territories for the past 6 months. What kind of goods? Everything, Your Majesty. Consumer electronics that outperform our best models. Weapons that exceed military-grade specifications but are sold as civilian hunting equipment. Ships that are faster and more efficient than anything our shipyards produce. The Emperor felt a familiar cold sensation in his stomach. And the prices? That's the problem, Your Majesty. They're selling everything at cost levels that shouldn't be possible. Our economists think they must be operating at a massive loss. Unless, the Emperor said slowly, their manufacturing costs are much lower than ours. Minister Felmoth nodded grimly. That's what we're afraid of, Your Majesty. Across the galaxy, alien businesses were facing the same problem. The Krillian electronics manufacturers couldn't compete with Terran computers that were faster, smaller, and cheaper. The Zephyrian shipbuilders watched helplessly as their customers bought Terran vessels that could travel twice as fast, while using half the fuel. Even worse, the Terran Collective wasn't just selling products. They were offering services. Their engineers could repair any machine, no matter how complex. Their doctors could cure diseases that had puzzled alien medical experts for centuries. Their teachers could educate students in subjects that most species had never heard of. On the trade world of Barrow 7, Merchant Captain Veltar was examining a piece of Terran technology with his scanning equipment. The device was labeled as a basic communication unit, but his scans showed capabilities that rivaled the most advanced military communication systems in the Galactic Council. This is impossible, he muttered to his assistant. This single device has more processing power than our entire ship's computer core. Should we report this to the authorities? His assistant asked. Veltar considered the question. Report what? That someone is selling better products at lower prices? That's not illegal. It's just uncomfortable. Similar conversations were happening throughout Council space. Alien scientists were studying Terran products, trying to understand how they worked. Alien engineers were attempting to reverse engineer Terran technology. Alien economists were developing theories about how the Terran Collective could operate so efficiently. None of them suspected the truth. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center of the TCS Prometheus, watching real-time economic data flow across the massive display screens. Human products were dominating markets across 17 star systems. Human technology was being adopted by dozens of alien species. Human influence was spreading faster than even their most optimistic projections. Admiral, Ambassador Elena Vasquez approached her with a satisfied expression. I have the latest diplomatic reports. 14 different alien species have formally requested trade partnerships with the Terran Collective in the past month. Any council species? Chen asked. 3 of them. The Aquarians want to buy our water purification technology. The peaceful ones are interested in our medical advances. And the Gorvax, Vasquez smiled. The Gorvax want to buy weapons, Chen laughed. The Gorvax would want weapons. What did you tell them? That we're a peaceful trading organization. But we do produce high-quality defensive equipment for legitimate security needs. Good answer. What about the council response to our activities? Vasquez's expression became more serious. They're starting to ask questions. Emperor Vox Talith has ordered investigations into our manufacturing methods. Some of the council intelligence services are trying to locate our home base. Let them try, Chen said. We're operating from 47 different star systems now. Even if they find one of our facilities, they'll never find them all. This was the beauty of humanity's new strategy. Unlike their old approach of expanding from a single home world, humans had established multiple independent colonies throughout the galaxy. Each colony was self-sufficient and capable of supporting the others. If one was discovered, the rest would continue operating. Dr. Elizabeth Warren joined them at the command display. Admiral, we're ready for the next phase of the plan. Already? Chen asked. I thought you needed another 6 months. Our automated manufacturing systems are more efficient than we expected. We've produced enough surplus goods to flood council markets for the next 3 years. More importantly, we've established enough trade relationships that our economic influence is becoming irreversible. Chen nodded. The economic invasion had been more successful than they had dared hope. Human products were now essential to the daily life of millions of aliens. Human technology was integrated into infrastructure systems across dozens of worlds. Removing humanity from the galactic economy would cause massive disruptions. It's time to make contact, Chen decided. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Instead of arriving as conquerors or refugees, humanity would reveal itself as an established galactic power. They would not ask for permission to exist. They would simply announce their presence and invite others to deal with them as equals. The diplomatic vessel TCS Harmony was chosen for first contact. It was a beautiful ship, sleek and advanced but not threatening. Its design incorporated elements from a dozen different alien architectural styles, showing respect for galactic diversity while demonstrating human adaptability. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge as the Harmony approached Nexus Prime. She wore a formal, diplomatic uniform that had been designed to impress alien sensibilities while maintaining human dignity. Her message was ready, her presentation prepared, her objectives clear. Ambassador, Captain Rodriguez announced, we're receiving hails from Nexus Prime Traffic Control. Open communications, Vasquez ordered. Unknown vessel, this is Nexus Prime Control. Identify yourself and state your business. This is Ambassador Elena Vasquez of the Terran Collective aboard the diplomatic vessel Harmony. I am here on official business with the Galactic Council. There was a long pause. Vasquez could imagine the confusion in the traffic control center. The Terran Collective was known as a trading organization, but they had never sent diplomatic missions to Council space. Stand by, Ambassador. We're contacting the Diplomatic Protocol Office. Another pause, longer this time. Vasquez waited patiently. She knew that her arrival would cause a stir. The Terran Collective had become too successful to ignore, and the Council would want answers about their sudden rise to prominence. Ambassador Vasquez, you are cleared for approach to Diplomatic Dock 7. Please follow the guidance beacons. Acknowledged control. Following guidance beacons now. As the Harmony approached the massive space station that orbited Nexus Prime, Vasquez reviewed her mission objectives one final time. She would not reveal that the Terran Collective was actually humanity in disguise. Not yet. Instead, she would present herself as the representative of a new galactic power that desired formal recognition and diplomatic relations. The truth would come later, when humanity was ready to fully reveal itself. The docking procedure was smooth and professional. Council security forces were present, but they seemed more curious than hostile. As Vasquez walked through the station corridors toward the diplomatic meeting rooms, she noticed aliens pointing and whispering. Word was spreading quickly that the mysterious Terran Collective had sent a representative, Emperor Vox Talith, was waiting in Conference Room Alpha, along with several other council members. His 4 eyes studied Vasquez carefully as she entered. She was clearly an alien species he had never seen before. Bipedal, average height with smooth skin and bilateral symmetry. She looked almost familiar somehow. Ambassador Vasquez, the Emperor said formally, "Welcome to Nexus Prime. I admit we are curious about your organization. The Terran Collective has become quite prominent in galactic trade, but you have avoided contact with Council authorities." Vasquez smiled and took her seat at the conference table. "Your Majesty, we are a relatively new organization focused primarily on commerce and peaceful development. We have not sought Council attention because we prefer to let our actions speak for themselves." "Your actions have certainly been impressive," the Emperor replied. "Our economic analysts are fascinated by your manufacturing capabilities. Perhaps you would be willing to share some information about your methods? We would be happy to discuss mutually beneficial arrangements, Your Majesty. In fact, that's why I'm here." Vasquez opened her briefcase and removed a data tablet. "The Terran Collective would like to propose formal diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council. We believe there are many areas where our organizations could work together for the benefit of all galactic citizens." Emperor Vox Talith could not sleep. For 3 days since Ambassador Vasquez left Nexus Prime, he had been pacing his chambers, reviewing intelligence reports, and trying to solve a puzzle that made his head hurt. "Computer," he said to his personal AI system, "display all available data on the Terran Collective." Holographic displays filled his room with charts, graphs, and images. Trade records showing the sudden appearance of Terran products 18 months ago, shipping manifest for vessels with registry numbers that didn't match any known system. Manufacturing data that suggested production capabilities beyond anything in Council space. Computer, analyze linguistic patterns in Ambassador Vasquez's speech. More data appeared. The AI had recorded every word, every phrase, every subtle vocal pattern from the diplomatic meeting. "Analysis complete, Your Majesty. Subject demonstrates familiarity with Council protocols and customs, suggesting extensive study of galactic civilization." "How extensive?" "Estimated minimum study period, 50 to 70 standard years." The Emperor felt that familiar cold sensation. "Computer, that's impossible. The Terran Collective has only existed for 5 years. "Affirmative, Your Majesty. This suggests either inaccurate historical records or deliberate concealment of origins." The Emperor stared at the data floating around his room. Slowly, carefully, he began to ask the question he had been avoiding. "Computer, access restricted files. Authorization Vox Talith Alpha 7. Authorized. Accessing restricted intelligence archives. Display all data on human banishment 5 years ago. New holographs replaced the others. Images of human ships leaving Earth. Reports from monitoring stations tracking their exodus. Military assessments of human capabilities at the time of banishment. Computer, compare human ship designs from 5 years ago with current Terran Collective vessels. Processing. No direct matches found. However, certain design philosophies show similarities." "What kind of similarities?" "Both cultures prefer modular construction, redundant systems, and multi-purpose capabilities. Both prioritize efficiency over aesthetic considerations." The Emperor's hearts began beating faster. "Computer, compare human population estimates with Terran Collective workforce data. Insufficient data for accurate comparison. Terran Collective does not release detailed demographic information." "Why not?" "Unknown. This is unusual for galactic trading organizations." The Emperor was beginning to see a pattern. The Terran Collective avoided revealing details about their origins, their population, their home territories. They appeared suddenly with advanced technology and massive production capabilities. They knew enough about galactic politics to manipulate markets and establish trade relationships. "Computer, where did the humans go when they left Earth?" "Unknown. Human vessels scattered in multiple directions. Long-range tracking was discontinued after 6 months due to resource limitations." "Show me the projected paths of human ships." Star charts appeared around the room, showing the known galaxy with red lines indicating the last known positions of human vessels. The Emperor studied the paths carefully. "Computer, overlay current Terran Collective activity areas on this chart." Green areas appeared on the star chart, showing where Terran Collective operations had been detected. The Emperor's 4 eyes widened. The green areas perfectly matched the regions where human ships had been heading 5 years ago. "Computer, what is the probability that the Terran Collective is actually human?" "Calculating. Based on available evidence, probability is 87%. The Emperor collapsed into his chair. 87%. The aliens he had banished to protect galactic peace had become the most powerful trading organization in known space. They had not only survived their exile, they had thrived beyond imagination. His personal communicator chimed with an urgent message. Your Majesty, we have reports of massive economic disruption in the core worlds. Terran collective products are flooding our markets faster than local manufacturers can respond. The Emperor activated his communicator. How massive? 17 major corporations have filed for bankruptcy protection in the past week. Unemployment in manufacturing sectors has increased 40%. And Your Majesty, the Terran Collective is not just selling products anymore. They're buying companies. Buying companies? Yes, Your Majesty. They're purchasing controlling interests in shipping firms, mining operations, even agricultural collectives. They're paying fair market prices, but they're moving so fast that local governments can't keep up with the regulatory requirements. The Emperor closed his eyes. This was economic warfare, conducted so skillfully that it looked like normal business activity. How long before they control significant portions of our economy? At current rates, Your Majesty, they could own 30% of galactic commerce within 2 years. The Emperor ended the communication and sat in silence. Around him, the holographic displays still showed the evidence of his greatest mistake. He had tried to remove a problem and had instead created a crisis. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Sarah Chen was receiving very different reports. Human settlements now existed in 49 star systems. Human technology was integrated into the infrastructure of hundreds of alien worlds. Human influence extended from the galactic core to the outer rim territories. Admiral, Ambassador Vasquez appeared on the main communication screen. I have excellent news from the Andromedal Trade Federation. They've agreed to support our bid for formal recognition as a galactic power. What kind of support? Chen asked. Political support in the Galactic Council? Access to their diplomatic networks and, most importantly, testimony about our peaceful intentions and beneficial impact on galactic commerce. Chen smiled. The Andromedals had been their first alien allies, and their support would carry significant weight with other non-council species. Any response from the council itself? Emperor Vox Talith has requested another meeting. This time he wants to discuss what he calls concerns about economic stability in council space. He's figured it out, Chen said. I believe so. The question is, what do we do about it? Chen had been preparing for this moment for 5 years. The time for hiding was ending. Soon humanity would have to reveal its true identity and face the consequences of their exile. Schedule the meeting, she decided. It's time to stop pretending. The second diplomatic meeting took place in the same conference room as the first. But this time Emperor Vox Talith was not alone. He had brought the heads of the Galactic Security Council, the Economic Regulation Committee, and the Trade Monitoring Division. Ambassador Vasquez entered the room with the same confident smile as before. But now the Emperor saw it differently. It was not the smile of an alien traitor. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. Ambassador Vasquez, the Emperor began, we need to discuss the rapid expansion of Terran collective activities in council space. Of course, Your Majesty. We're always happy to discuss our business, operations. Our economists believe that your organization is operating at production levels that require a much larger population base than you have disclosed. Vasquez nodded. We have always been honest about being a distributed organization, Your Majesty. How distributed? The Emperor pressed. Our intelligence services estimate that you would need at least 10 billion workers to maintain current production levels. Your intelligence services are very thorough, Vasquez replied. Still smiling, the Emperor leaned forward. Ambassador, I'm going to ask you a direct question and I hope you will give me a direct answer. Are you human? The conference room became completely silent. Every alien in the room stared at Ambassador Vasquez. She sat quietly for a moment, then reached up and activated a small device on her collar. Suddenly her appearance began to change. The alien features faded away, revealing a human woman with brown hair and green eyes. The sophisticated holographic disguise she had been wearing disappeared completely. Yes, Your Majesty, Elena Vasquez said in her natural voice. I am human. The Emperor felt the blood drain from his purple skin. Impossible. We banished your species 5 years ago. You banished us from Earth, Vasquez corrected. You told us to leave our home and never come back. You did not tell us we couldn't make new homes elsewhere. You were ordered to relocate to Kepler 4-4-HCC. That was your suggestion, not our decision. We chose to make our own arrangements. The Emperor's 4 eyes were wide with shock and growing fear. How many of you are there? 12 billion humans in 49 star systems, Your Majesty. We've been quite busy during our exile. The head of the Security Council, a large insectoid being, made angry clicking sounds. This is a violation of the banishment order. You were supposed to be contained. Vasquez turned to face him with a cold expression. We were exiled without trial, without representation, without appeal. We were told we were too dangerous to live near civilized species. You wanted us gone and we accommodated your request. But not as we intended, the Emperor protested. Your Majesty, Vasquez said firmly, you voted to remove us from the galactic community. You did not vote to destroy us. We have survived, we have prospered, and we have built something remarkable. Now we're offering to rejoin that community as equals. Equals. The Economic Committee head was a floating gas being who pulsed with agitated colors. You're threatening our entire economic system.